Hello, and welcome to module number 4. Yay! I am Kiana Brathwaite, soon to be Kiana Jennings White, and we are going to talk about module number 4, aspect number 4, spiritual. Of the 12 aspects of self, where you're kind of getting to know the parts of yourself that you really want to put that energy, focus, and time into so that you can always take care of yourself and be at your best, right? So I use spiritual. I grew up in I call them Southern Baptist, they are Southern Baptist household, Deacon and Deaconess White, and I call them Orthodox Baptist. When I was growing up, I'm doing air quotes because you would go to church and you would have to dress a certain way on a Sunday, and you didn't, as a woman or female, you didn't wear pants to their church. You only wore a skirt. I'm talking like, whew, I'm so glad some of those criterion have been released, and we're a little more lax. But I don't necessarily practice from a religious standpoint because I grew up in religion. I more so practice from a connection standpoint. So for me, spiritual encompasses, the religious aspects of people's lives and practices. But you can call it religion, you can call it spiritual, you can call it whatever you want to call it. It's really how you connect with what you believe in or whom you believe in, right? And so I define this as connection to, for me, the divine, my ancestors, my lineage, family members who have transitioned, into the afterlife, right? They've passed. And so it's just my way to connect with all of what makes me who I am from something bigger than me perspective, right? Something out there is more intelligent than me, or, through consciousness, whatever you want to call it. I grew up with God. So I shared, I believe, in the intro episode where my doctor, my primary care doctor, many years ago shared with me, I had started my health journey and was exploring what my optimum health looked like, what I needed to do to get to my optimum health and then maintain it. So she was on that journey with me. She was part of my players. I work in the healthcare education field. That's what my firm does. And I talk a lot to clients about you are the coach and your doctors and everybody are the players, and you kind of get to dictate to them because it's your body, right? It's not theirs. You are the expert within your body. So that comes to the, having agency, having sovereignty over your particular body. So anyway, it was this doctor who, while I was on this journey, I found her, and she mentioned to me while I was at one of my annual appointments, we were talking, and she was going into all aspects of my life, and, we covered the gambit. And she turns to me after we talk about a bunch of things, and she's like, you're really doing good here, here, and here, but you don't have your spiritual life in order. And I looked at her, and I was like, what? So I said to her, okay, tell me more. My interest is piqued. I've never had a physician even remotely speak into that, right? So, she was talking about anxiety and frustration and all the things, and she asked me if I had ever meditated, and I was like, yeah, I don't do it right, because I was one of those, when I first came into meditation, there's a right way to meditate, right? It's supposed to quiet your mind, and all of these are the expectations and projections I had placed upon this practice. And so we had a conversation, and she suggested that I take a meditation class. And I'm like, meditation is individual. Why would I want to sit in a class with people? It was one of the most self-fulfilling things that I've ever done, and I'm glad that I followed her advice, and it led me to this place of recognizing how important spirituality, or my connection, my deep connection to that which I believe in, really is, how much it is at the foundation and a pillar of who I am. And by me not having understood that before, I could not pour into it in a way in which would support me being at my best and taking care of myself. As I said, this is from a generator, managing human design perspective. So really, when she brought this to my attention, I didn't realize how frustrated I was in that space. how much I was seeking out support in that space until she said something, because I had years prior found a church and, got baptized, but still felt frustrated and wasn't really sure what was going on, was questioning my relationship and all of that. And so it was just this really good opportunity to see this, right? To really reflect on it, and not from a place of judgment, but like, wow, this has been something that has been in the fore. I just didn't even really understand that until she called it out. So sometimes having someone call something out for you that you're like, whoa, okay, right, is really helpful. And other times it could be an affront, right? If you're not in a space where you're ready to receive it or you've even noticed it, it can be confrontational. But even I find confrontation for me to be an opportunity for me to really understand, why is it confrontational? Why is it something that triggers me or rubs me the wrong way? And so I always see those as opportunities. And they usually pique my interest no matter where they're coming from and what the motivation of the person who's giving the advice, whether it's solicited or not, right? I kind of went off on a tangent there, but I find that this focus on what connects me to what I believe in, when I pour into that, it allows me to, again, fill my cup and then come from a very different space when I'm engaging with others. And leaning into whether I'm frustrated, I've had practices within my spiritual space that have kind of fallen by the wayside, and I got frustrated with myself because I was like, well, it was going well and it was helpful, but then something in my life changed where it wasn't meeting me where I was. And so I dropped it, and maybe I picked it back up, or maybe it evolved. So it just really depends on what those practices are. And they're not necessarily meant to meet you your entire life journey. And that was something that I had to learn and understand for myself. So I invite you to sit with that. Once again, give yourself, a day, 3 days, a week, a month, depending on what this particular aspect, what do you want to call it, how you want to define it, how does it show up for you in your day-to-day. Really sit with that and, journal, whatever. I do written journals, but I also do audio journals because they're very helpful. Sometimes me speaking what's being internally processed supports me better than writing because my hand can't always keep up with what my brain is doing. So that's just the way, those are 2 ways that I want to share with you to sit with this and kind of play around with it. And it's all about playing, right? Practices, things that we implement to support ourselves, to care for ourselves, play with it. So I'll leave it there, and I look forward to hearing you, speaking to you in the next module. Until then, take care.